I love the crunch.
Yeah.
Anything that's crunchy.
Dry hand,
wet hand. Dry hand,
Exactly.
wet hand.
Exactly.
Come on, CK. So the first thing we do, this is not a weapon.
It's not.
Right? When you say things like, this is hard to mess up, I'm like, yes, put me down for one of those. Hi everybody, I'm Catenya McHenry. Welcome to the Mom Who Can't Cook show. I am so excited about today's episode. We are here on location in Austin, Texas, and I have two friends I'm so excited about. Denise, who I used to work with in television here in Austin, and my new friend, CK Chen, who's a restaurant owner here in Austin. He owns two restaurants, Wu Chow and also Swiss Attic. I'm so excited about this episode because we're making something homemade, and it's a staple, homemade chicken nuggets. I'm always looking for things that my children will eat, and they've told me they don't like sandwiches anymore. I'm like,
oh no.
What are you talking about?
What are you gonna make?
I know, like I'm out. Like I have no creativity. Like I'm stuck. So we're gonna start with CK, who's gonna show me how to break down the recipe. I don't know exactly what that means, so I'm learning as we go. And we're gonna take this, we'll start with the chicken, and then we're gonna make mixed vegetables, which are gonna be delicious, along with smashed potatoes. And then Denise is gonna show me how to put everything together. So let's get started. So here are the list of ingredients. You need a half a cup of yellow mustard, a third cup of honey, a quarter cup of mayo, salt and pepper. You need 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 6 to 8 ounces of boneless chicken. You need 3 eggs, and the secret ingredient, pickle juice, right? We're gonna tell you why you need pickle juice and why it's such a secret ingredient, and who else, the famous restaurant that uses pickle juice. We're blowing the cover on them today. You need 1 cup of flour, you need 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, vegetable oil, and then of course you need a crown of cauliflower, a crown of broccoli, and also fingerling potatoes. CK, tell me what we're doing.
All right, so I think anytime when you're trying to tackle a new recipe, particularly a new recipe, you want to get it into kind of like manageable chunks,
Yes,
right? I mean,
yeah.
a saying I use all the time is like, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time, one bite at a time, right? So for this part, you want to set it up into different things. And a lot of it, the most difficult part really is getting all your food to arrive.
Probably my children. Hold
yeah,
on a
you
second.
want to check on that. Speaking.
Want to make sure that they haven't burned their house down, our house.
We're the ones cooking. Those
Right,
are the fire.
exactly.
Yeah, so the idea is to make sure that things that take longer to get that started, things that are fast, we can kind of do while things are going on.
Right.
Perfect example, right now, one of the things we need to do is brine our chicken, which
Yes.
is seasoning our chicken from the inside. Kind of think of it as a marinade, but a specific type. So
Yeah.
basically, if you think about it from a brine perspective, pickle brine, we're using a dill pickle right here, already has peppercorn, obviously dill, vinegar, sugar, salt. It's all there for you. You don't want to brine it too long in this strong of a brine. This is a
Yeah.
very high kind of acidic, very high vinegar
Yeah.
because it's designed to turn a cucumber into a pickle.
Right. So how long is ideal?
We're talking 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay.
Just enough for that flavor to get in there.
Okay.
We're adding a little bit of saltiness right here, this is Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire.
Say that 5 times in a row.
Yep. This pickle juice has been diluted a little bit with a
Okay.
little bit of water just
Yep.
to do that.
And I learned today
it.
that this is a secret ingredient of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I think they
Pickle
pioneered it.
juice,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
So-
So now you can stop going to Chick-fil-A and make this at home by yourself.
So this is it. I mean, basically what the Worcestershire sauce does is add a little bit of saltiness to it.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So that's it. And then once we do that, then we just put our chicken in there.
Just throw it
Yeah,
in.
just throw it
give
in
it a
there.
bath.
Yep, give it a
Okay,
bath.
That's it. So we set the chicken in the refrigerator to brine. So while that's brining, CK went ahead and started the potatoes boiling. And so now that those things are going, we're gonna start on the honey mustard, which is a homemade honey mustard that we're gonna use for a dipping for the chicken nuggets. So we're using mustard, honey, and mayo.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, it doesn't get any simpler than that. I mean,
Yeah.
in truth, it's in the name, honey mustard, right? So you
Right.
can kind of guess. The other thing, I guess the only secret ingredient would be the mayonnaise. And really what that is mayonnaise is a very neutral flavor, and it kind of balances out. Honey is super, super sweet. Mustard is really kind of tart and spicy.
Yeah.
So you need something to create more of a sauce that's just not so much like just getting punched on either side of your face, right?
Or
So-
making your mouth tingle in the back.
Next
All
to
right,
you.
so just whisk it.
Yep, just whisk it up.
This is fun. I feel like I know what I'm doing.
So it looks pretty all smooth and homogenized. We can go ahead and leave that in there.
Okay.
Just in case we need more. Grab a little spoon.
Tasting spoons, one for you, one for me.
Yeah, let's taste it. Let's see what it tastes like.
This is the fun part.
Right?
Yes.
That's it. That's honey mustard.
That is so good.
Right. Next up, the fry station.
Okay, here we go. All right, so these are ingredients for the chicken.
So what we're doing here is a little bit of baking soda.
Okay, where's that go?
Into the flour.
In the flour.
Yep.
Okay.
Baking soda is obviously a leavener.
Right.
It's going to give it a little bit of poof, you know, just to give it a little bit of that extra.
Okay,
This is
what's next?
garlic powder and
Also
onion
into the
powder.
flour?
Yep.
Okay, just do those at the same time?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And then just a couple pinches of salt in there.
Okay. I'm not going to throw any over my shoulder this
yeah.
time, since I'm not in my own kitchen.
Probably a couple.
Was that too much?
No, probably a little bit more, but basically almost the same amount as the other ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And then go ahead and do the same with the egg. Salt.
Salt in the egg. Okay.
Yep.
More?
Yep, there you go. That's
Okay.
good. And then a little bit in the panko.
Okay.
Okay. So to me, again, this is one of those things that I'm going to go ahead and get a little few. I like putting a little black pepper in these two because the panko is going to kind of protect it.
Okay.
You don't want to put black pepper in the last bit because this is what's actually going to be in contact with most of the oil. Black pepper burns pretty easily.
Oh, okay.
So this is it.
No wonder.
And so then we're just gonna give it a stir. Make sure that seasoning is done through. Go ahead and stir that flour up.
Okay. Yep. All right. So now we're taking the chicken out.
Take the chicken out of the brine. So now what I want you to notice is you see how it starts to look a little cloudy. So that's literally the acid and everything. It's like ceviche. You've ever had ceviche before?
Yes,
Have you had ceviche?
Yeah.
So that's lemon juice, super acid, lime juice.
Yep.
So it starts to do the exact same thing. It starts to just break it down on a chemical level.
Okay,
And so this will help it tenderize and do all the nice magical stuff that's going on. So what we're doing is just wanting to get rid of this excess brine.
Okay. It looks like the pieces of chicken like pumped up a little bit.
Yeah, they
absorb.
Yeah, they absorb some of this brine. They absorb some of the water, and that's what is going to keep it moist. All right, we have our standard 3-stage.
So this
frying.
is where the rings come off.
That's right. You got to use your hands. Best tools in your repertoire.
Because we're about to get down and dirty.
Get down and dirty. Let me get these out of your way. Got it. Perfect.
Oh, here. I'll put them over here. Okay.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
So
this
what
part
we're trying
is
to
fun, and this part you can do with the children, right? Like give them a job to do. They can dunk and dip and keep going.
That's correct. And so what you're trying to do is, if you really think of it, from a philosophical perspective, you're talking. This is wet, dry, wet, dry. Dry things stick to wet things. Wet things stick to dry things. Wet things don't stick to wet things. Tendency dry things don't stick to dry things. So that you got to create this kind
order
of thing so these things stick to each other.
Right. So you see what we did here. We have the flour, the eggs, and then the panko bread crumbs.
Correct.
So it has to go in that particular order.
Correct, right, because if you went straight to eggs, the eggs will slide right off the chicken.
Yeah,
so we're going to create something for the eggs.
Okay.
So this is the hardest part that you're going to learn. Ready?
The hardest part. Okay.
Dry hand, wet hand.
Jazz hand.
Wet hand. Dry hand, wet hand.
Dry hand, wet hand.
Exactly.
Come on, CK.
Oh yeah.
Dry hand, wet hand. Dry hand, wet hand. Okay.
So it's kind of like rubbing your belly and tap, because what you're gonna do is, so as we're reaching into these things, what you want to do is to make sure that you don't mix those two, or you'll end up with bread in your hand. Right? We call it club hand, where you get this battered hand.
Okay.
So what you want to do is take the chicken with your so wet hand.
Wet hand.
Into here.
Okay.
Okay. So now don't touch the dry stuff with this hand.
Okay.
Use this hand.
Okay.
And try to get, you can move the flour onto the ingredient.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Just turn it over like.
Yeah, whatever you like. Yep. Just get it nice and coated, nice and even. Pat off as much as you can. Like just shake off as much as you can.
Okay. Shake it off.
Yep. Put it in there. Drop it in there.
I'm hearing a song. Taylor Swift.
Okay. Now, perfect. Now, so now you're using your wet hand. Okay. So now you can do that.
This right hand is wet hand.
Yep.
Okay.
And then make sure you get the sides. There you go.
Flip it over.
Yep. Drop. Oh, don't use this hand. Go drop it in here.
Oh my God.
Now use it. Yeah, this hand. Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, there is a science and a method to the madness in here.
Yeah, and so you want to make sure you and when we talk about your Taylor Swift, shake it off a little bit.
Right.
Is to make sure whatever sticks on there is kind of what belongs on there.
Okay.
Anything else, you want to give it a little.
Oh.
Yep. Right. Give it a little shake, because anything else, that's just going to fall into the oil and burn.
Okay.
All right. So now we put it on the plate.
Okay.
And we're done. That's one.
One.
And now we
All
do
right,
this
here we go. Okay.
all these times.
You see this?
Yeah.
So this is because I mixed up the dry hand and wet hand.
Yeah, you got the dancer ready.
Yeah, I went out of order.
Yep,
So
and there you go.
that's what happens.
Yep. I think for any beginning chef, this is really important.
Yeah.
This is the way you don't have to guess. A lot of times people don't know when things are done, how long to cook things. There's no guesswork here.
That's me.
So right here we've got about a quart or so of oil. We want to make sure that the oil doesn't, the little probe doesn't touch the bottom. So we're not reading the bottom.
All
so
right.
right there in the middle.
Okay.
We need about 350. Perfect.
Okay.
So we're about 360 right there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit, and then cold chicken, we're gonna put a bunch in there, it's gonna drop the temperature.
Yep.
So we don't wanna turn this off,
Okay.
but we do wanna turn it down a little bit because we don't want it to go a little bit too much. So we're ready to take those.
All right,
and
so
yeah, you can just
one at a time?
Yeah, lay them in, and then what's gonna happen is, there you go.
Yes.
So lay them around kind of a little bit from apart of each other. So the good thing about this is generally the main thing you want to make sure is that there's oil surrounding the whole thing.
Yep.
It's so funny because deep fat frying, whatever, people think it's really bad, but in reality, when you submerge something in oil, the oil is coming at it from all sides.
Yep.
So oil can't get in because everything inside is trying to come out.
Yes.
So things get greasy when you have the oil too low.
Yeah.
And then the steam and everything inside the meat is not able to come out, so then the oil can get in. Right now, all of that steam is trying to push its way out, oil is trying to push its way in, and we're just cooking it. So there we go. We should be,
so we're good?
Yeah.
We're at 3 minutes? Okay.
That's the golden
what it
brown
should
that we're
look like.
talking about, yeah.
Ooh, now that is pretty.
That is pretty.
So we did our chicken with CK. Now Denise is gonna show me how to break down our vegetables. So I didn't even know, when she sent me the list of ingredients and she said something about a crown, the cauliflower crown and the broccoli crown, I was like, oh, it has a crown? It's called, well, that makes perfect sense. So Dee is gonna show me how to break down the vegetables.
Yes, so we're gonna break down some broccoli and cauliflower, and then we have some baby carrots. But what I'm gonna show you, we're gonna roast these veggies up in a really simple way, just with salt, pepper, and olive oil. And you can use this technique for any type of vegetable, I promise. Butternut squash, Brussels sprouts, whatever.
Cool.
Okay, so first, the cauliflower. We're gonna take off this leafy part. You can do it with me.
Okay.
And then cut off the stem. Okay, now once the stems are cut off, we're gonna cut it in half.
Okay. And what's the point of doing that?
So that we'll be able to get to the florets a little bit easier.
Oh, okay.
And you can cut it one more time in a quarter.
Okay.
There you go. And then from there, great job.
Okay.
And then from there, you can kind of trim the inside stem off, and then here you go. Your florets just kind of break off.
They just fall off.
Yes. Okay, so they just kind of peel off as you see, and you can even cut these into smaller pieces if you'd like, or you can leave them big. But whichever you decide, you want to make sure that all of the veggies that you're roasting together are about the same size so they cook evenly.
Okay.
So we can finish doing, you do this one, and I'll do this one.
Okay.
And then
quarter.
and then cut off that stem. There you go. And then, so there you go. So then we're gonna add them to our baking sheet. I like to line mine with foil, just for easier cleanup. Okay, so you've probably seen a broccoli crown. This is the broccoli with the stem. And what a lot of people might not know is that the stem is edible when you cut off this tough part on the outside. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. We'll cut off this tough end. Okay, and then we're gonna peel this off until we see that yummy green part coming through. Okay, and then we're gonna cut off the florets, and then you can just kind of break them off like this. And that's what you usually buy at the grocery store when it's already pre-cut, right? And then I wanted you to, this is the stem that we've cut down, and I made it this size because, like I said, you want your vegetables to be a similar size. So we were using baby carrots today, so we'll try to get the stem to about the same size. But I wanted you to try it.
Okay.
If you've never had it before.
Yum. That's really good.
It's like really crispy and bright and fresh.
I love the crunch.
Yeah.
Anything that's crunchy, that's so good. I'm gonna have another one.
And then you can just throw those on your pan like with everything else.
So the last step is drizzling with olive oil and then seasoning with salt and pepper.
Yep.
So I'll do the olive oil. This reminds me of church, which I love. So tell me what the point of putting oil.
So it adds some moisture to the vegetables, and then it also helps them cook more quickly. And then it might help it get a little bit of a char, which is how I personally like my vegetables.
And so this is just gorgeous. I love the color. Do you think your son will eat vegetables that look like this?
Yes, he out of this medley right here, he would eat the broccoli and the carrots.
Yeah.
We're still working on cauliflower, but hoping to get there.
I'm excited about trying everything together.
Okay, so now we're just gonna roast this. You can roast it anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes, just depending on how soft you like them. And we're gonna put it in at 425.
The last part of this entire recipe is the fingerling potatoes. And the way we're gonna do them is we're gonna smash them, which is a whole new technique for me. I usually mash them or make French fries or just go buy them.
Yeah, we talked about making French fries, but since we were already doing fried chicken tenders, we thought this might be a healthier take, and you can still drizzle some ketchup on them, or your kids can dip them if that's what they prefer doing. So these are those cooked potatoes that CK was working on. We'll place them all on there.
How many do you want to do?
Okay. We just don't want to, we're going to need to save some room to smash them, so they're going to like kind of go out like a pancake once we do that. So we don't want to overcrowd them, maybe 10. Like this is probably pretty good.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So this is the fun part, and your kids would love doing this too. So you're gonna grab any type of cup, coffee cup, whatever you have around, just something with some heft to it, and you're just gonna smash it.
Yes.
And you get this effect right here. So they're skinny and flat, and these crisp up really nicely in the oven.
So don't mind me, I'm just gonna smash while you talk.
And then all we're gonna do once they're smashed is similar to what we did with the roasted vegetables. We're just gonna drizzle some olive oil on them and salt and pepper.
Oh, was that too much?
No,
That was like a big glob that popped out.
It'll be fine.
That one's gonna be really crispy.
And if you're worried about that, then you can also just use a baste. Put some in a little dish and use a baster, and then it can go on more evenly, but these are kind of hard to mess up. I think it's gonna be fine. And potatoes can take quite a bit of salt, so put a little bit more than you think that you might need. Okay. And then if you wanna follow up with some pepper.
Okay, yep. This is the perfect recipes for me, because when you say things like, this is hard to mess up, I'm like, yes, put me down for one of those.
It's a good place to start.
Right.
Okay, so then these can go in with the vegetables that are already in the oven as well, and they're gonna roast for probably about the same time.
We are just about done and ready to taste the food, but before we do, I want Denise to talk about her fantastic company called Graze Love. Yeah. There is life after television, and she has created this beautiful company that makes these beautiful Graze boards. So tell me about them.
Yeah, it's like a glorified charcuterie board. A flat board, we have a bunch of different sizes, but they're overflowing with meats and cheeses and fruits and nuts and seasonal stuff. And yeah, they're really fun. They're really good for like baby showers or office parties or just a party at home.
They're gorgeous. How do you even know like what to put together, like the flavors and meats? And
lots of taste testing.
Yeah.
This business was grown out of my love for wine and cheese and meats, and so yeah, I've tasted everything and I approve, and I think that
and she's approved this message. Says we're in the political season right now. But like that's what's important is what CK said about tasting the food and knowing, like your brain knows, right? What to go to what goes together, but it's a matter of just tasting it and trying it.
And I've tried some things. I'm like, oh no, I think this would be better, and you know, it's just trial and error.
It's beautiful. Yeah. All right, so now we're ready to eat. Yay! We are done. We made it through a successful meal without burning down the kitchen. Denise's kitchen is still intact, and we have a beautifully plated meal as the final product.
I mean, this is perfect. And in a way, like I said, I know, and I don't have kids of my own, but I obviously have many adopted children that I've cooked for now. And this is a well-balanced meal, as we talk about vegetables that we cook, again, fresh, simple, nothing on there that is over-intimidating, difficult to use. Smashed potatoes, which I think scratches that French fry itch, because when you try one of these, super crispy, crunchy, really great ketchup, vehicles for ketchup, and obviously the crispy chicken nuggets that are great, that are just made from chicken. It's like there's nothing but that. So
all right,
not that weird pink paste, whatever this is.
No more pink paste.
That's right.
All right, so let's do it. We're gonna dip in and just try. Let's go for it.
We'll try a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hear that crunch? That's the one.
So good.
So yeah, so the great thing about what we're talking about here, that what the timing is, as you know that the potatoes, like you saw the potatoes and the cauliflower and the vegetables, they take a little bit longer than the chicken. So if you started prepping that first, got those in the oven, doing the chicken, got those in the oven maybe the same time as you had the chicken in the brine, get your breading set up, put them in there. By the time the chicken was fried and ready, is ready to pull the vegetables out, and you're done. It's kind of like, it all kind of converges all in one.
Because the chicken only took 3 minutes, right?
3 minutes.
Yeah.
For chicken, for a little chicken.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Mom Who Can't Cook Show. This has been fantastic with our guest, CK Chin, local restaurant owner, and my awesome friend Dee, who owns Graze Love. And we have a fantastic meal. I know the kids are gonna love it. Thanks you guys so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You did great, you did great.
Another successful meal in the books.